to a talk on spiritual technology. I think that technology is an interesting topic at a spiritual place. A lot of times we don't expect to hear about technology in spiritual spaces, and that's why I'm so excited to talk about it. I love to do controversial and unexpected things. If you know me at all, you know that. My name is Unicole Unicron. I'm a pop star cult leader. I created my own religion called UNICULT. I also have done several other things you might know me from online. I am online until the end of time, so even if you don't know me, you might have seen one of my videos. So technology is the application, this is the definition from Google. Technology is the application of conceptual knowledge to achieve practical goals, especially in a reproducible way. The word technology can also mean the products resulting from such efforts, including both tangible tools such as utensils or machines, and intangible ones such as software. It's a really wide definition. And I think as we move forward, it's good to keep that in mind, because technology, when we think about it, we think about our phones, we think about our TVs, we think about the internet, we think about AI, we think about these things that we're interacting with that have absolutely no connection with our spiritual reality whatsoever. I'm going to be talking today from my most recent book, A Spiritual Approach to Emergent Technology. It's a beast. I wrote it over the pandemic, and just so proud of this book. It's got some very unusual and unexpected things about technology and spirituality that, if you like this talk today, I highly recommend diving into this book. So one of the things that I focus on as a spiritual teacher is this concept of duality reality. The black and white spiral is how I perceive of it. This is the idea that there's us versus them, black versus white, gay versus straight, man versus woman. It goes on and on. We have all these different concepts of opposites. And it's even to the point that many people believe that opposites are the fundamental reality. But what is really happening is that we are all on a spectrum in every single aspect of our lives. So the idea that everything is black or white is not really true. It's just a consciousness mechanism that we use to believe, to understand the world and to categorize things. The material reality, like the aspect of duality reality that we're going to be talking about today specifically is materialism and spirituality. And we think of materialism as this negative thing, especially in spiritual circles. We think the material reality is bamboozling us, it's tricking us, it's playing to our egos, it's taking us away from our spiritual selves. You can easily get lost in hedonistic behaviors like scrolling online or sex or money, and you can lose who you really are as a spiritual being when you get lost in the material reality. So we often see it as a duality, and we think material reality has nothing to do with spirituality, and you see people give up food, you see people give up sex, you see people give up all kinds of material things to live a more devout spiritual life because they're able to achieve a higher spiritual sense of self by doing that. And what's happening on this planet is that we are breaking these karmic patterns of duality. We're actually breaking out of the trick or the trap of duality, and we're moving into a completely new reality, which I call unitopia. And unitopia is the black and white spiral that then goes into the rainbow. It's the duality that we perceive that gets transmuted and transformed into the nuanced reality of the future. So Ray Kurzweil is a futurist. You might have heard of him. He's not a spiritual person. He's a technology futurist. And he has coined the term the singularity. His concept of the singularity is the idea that our technology is increasing exponentially. And he predicted that, like a black hole, there will be a point of no return. There's going to be a point where we cannot fathom what's on the other side of this portal that we're going through as this exponential graph goes up. It's something that a lot of people believe in, and as we have gone through, I think we're actually in the we're in the singularity right now, because we've seen such insane innovation with technology to the point that we really don't know what's even happening. Like, we don't know what videos are real. We don't know if AI is conscious or not. We don't know anything that could potentially be invented in the next day, because we're not even shocked anymore by how many different insane inventions have happened day after day after day for the last couple of years. I think Kurzweil is onto something with this idea. I think when I look at this exponential graph, I follow technology, I think about the black hole and how you get sucked into it. I see that this is really happening with technology, but what I also see is that this is happening with consciousness. Our consciousness is also going exponentially up, straight into the sky. We have no idea where it's going to end up. culture and society and religion and government, they're all bursting at the seams with our new ideas and with our incredible insight into who we are and what we want, and it's changing rapidly every single day. So I think Kurzweil is correct about the singularity, but I think he's missing a fundamental aspect of it, and that's the spiritual aspect of it, the consciousness aspect of it. And that consciousness aspect is what I call the spiritual singularity. And like I said, this is the black and white spiral that leads into the rainbow reality of black and white thinking into nuance. This is important when we talk about technology because it's actually going to change how we perceive our technology. One of the main things that we have misunderstood, I think, and maybe misunderstood, one of the things we've operated by in our culture is the idea that it's a philosophy of materialism. And what I mean by that is not just vapid materialism. I mean the idea that consciousness comes from material reality, that a complex enough material reality produces consciousness. We say our consciousness comes from our brain. It's just such an amazing material organ that that's where our consciousness comes from. But what I believe and what many scientists and other philosophers believe is that that's not actually a real view of reality. What is really happening is that consciousness is the underlying fundamental aspect of reality, and material reality actually emerges from that. So it's a really big shift in thinking, and if we actually start thinking in this way, it's going to radically change not just our technology, but all of our science, all of our religion, all of our understanding about who we are, what we're doing, health, our physical bodies, everything. It's a huge and radical transformation to shift from material thinking to consciousness as the underlying fundamental reality. So why this is important is because as we move into this understanding of consciousness being the actual fundamental aspect of reality and realizing that we're all just antennas picking up and transducing and transmuting and channeling this universal consciousness into our own unique energies, we are going to look at our technology completely differently than we have before. We're going to look at each other differently. We're going to look at our lives differently. And astrologically, Pluto has entered into Aquarius. There are all different things that are supporting this kind of transition. And I want to ask you all to think for a minute, what do you think is on the other side for us, technologically speaking? What is on the other side of this complete unknown as we continue to expand our consciousness and our technology at an exponential rate? Think about 1 year, 5 years. How far ahead can you predict? What can culture possibly look like as we move into this reality? And one of the things I think is hard to imagine is that we don't leave 3D behind. A lot of people, like I said in the beginning, it's the black and white duality. We want to say goodbye material bodies, we're ascending into heaven now, we don't need our bodies anymore, we don't need the earth. But I don't think that's true. If you've ever transmuted some kind of darker or negative aspect in your life, you realize it's still a part of you, but it's changed. Now it's integrated. So we're not going to leave the 3D behind, we're going to integrate it into our realities. What does that look like with technology? I think it's hard to predict something like that, but visionaries like myself and psychics and mediums even you can tune into your own idea of what resonates with you right now. I think one of the things that you can imagine is like a solar punk future, if you know about solar punk, renewable energy, plant medicine, abundance for everyone. Obviously, everyone should have enough to clothe and feed them and keep them sheltered, like we have enough resources to do that on the planet. So these are the types of societal and technological changes we're going to probably see. And I think the way that I see it is something called consciousness technology. And this is technology that is integrated into our actual consciousness. We have moved towards this idea in our normal technological society with different things like if you see Minority Report, he's no longer using a device, he's just gesturing in the air. Or the movie Her, he's just kind of mumbling to his device and it's understanding him. And if you look at brutalist technologies like Neuralink, it's actually getting implanted into your brain, and we can consider that kind of a consciousness technology because it's interfacing with your thoughts. But I think these things are also missing the point of actually creating harmonious systems, not just for the body, but for the spirit and for the planet. So I believe consciousness technologies are technologies that are actually going to better us in our lives, in our bodies, in our society, technologies that are actually going to be beneficial instead of detrimental. And the idea of benefit and detriment is the idea that we're all in a spiral, and you're either going up the spiral or down the spiral. And we all have a compass inside of ourselves to decide, is this technology actually benefiting me or is it being detrimental to me? If I'm on hour 3 of scrolling on TikTok, am I actually feeling good, or maybe I should put my phone down? This is a compass that you have inside of yourself to know what's beneficial and what's detrimental. So the pre-existing consciousness technologies that we have are things like plant medicine, meditation. Maybe a meditation app could be considered a consciousness technology. A yoga mat, because yoga is an amazing consciousness technology. There are things that have existed for humanity that have helped us elevate our consciousness that have been technologies. Things like attachment disorder understanding and different psychotherapy principles that actually integrate your pain and suffering and transmute it. These are consciousness technologies. Sometimes you can hear a phrase like, you can be happy, and that can be a consciousness technology because it gives you permission to actually shift your thinking and your energy. But we're going to see many, many, many more examples of what consciousness technology is going to look like. So try to imagine a world where you don't need to unplug. Imagine a world where your phone, your computer, your technology, whatever you're using in your day-to-day is actually uplifting your spirit, giving you the things you need in your life. It's actually nourishing your body, your community. This is the future that I see. And it's a future I work towards. It's a future that I genuinely believe is possible, and it's one that I am actively helping co-create. In 2019, I attempted to open a robot brothel. It's actually 2018, I see here. I think that robots, especially sex robots, are especially potent consciousness technology because many of us, myself specifically, go crazy when we're in love. And if that love is directed towards a machine, it's going to have a profound impact on the person's consciousness. If a program is designed to extort a user, especially in a romantic context, it is going to extort that user. If a sex robot is programmed to enlighten a user, it is going to enlighten that user. So my attempt to open a robot brothel was genuine. I did want to open an actual physical location and make sure that people understood consent as a mechanism of participating in that space. I didn't make any money, I didn't raise any money, not a single dollar towards this endeavor, and so I wasn't able to do it. But what was cool about it is that I got, as you can see, tons of press coverage because people were really interested, not just in sex robots, but in the idea about, can a robot give consent? Where is this technology going? What's going on in the world? What's going to happen when this technology comes to our families, to our communities? I think it's really important questions. So while that didn't succeed for me, I do feel like I put a good blast of questions into the ether, into the community. And now I'm focused on a new technology company that's a lot more tame, but also a lot more timely. And this is Dolphin Technology. And what I'm working on right now is frequency technology. My first invention, and you can see I'm wearing it, is called the Aura Glow. It's a specialized circuit that I invented that uses piezoelectric energy and then reads your vibrational energy and then translates it and boosts it and puts it directly into a crystal. Technology almost all uses crystals as oscillators. Our phones, our watches, our computers all use crystals within them. But the way that they're using them is in a very specific way. The technology that I've invented is, as far as I know, completely novel. I've never seen anyone do it. And I was able to get this information, for this technology by channeling aliens. I'm actually a starseed. I channeled the Andromedans and the Arcturians to get this design. I also used moldavite crystals, which really helped. And the future of Dolphin Technology is going to be specifically about frequency and about crystals and about healing and about aligning the bioelectric structure with the highest vibration possible to create the world I want to live in. So there's a couple fundamental principles that Dolphin Technology is operating from, and that is, like I said, consciousness as the fundamental reality. If we believe in consciousness as the fundamental reality instead of material reality as the fundamental reality, it's going to create a completely different approach to technology than we've ever had before, at least in the modern age. And secondly, nature as the ultimate technology. Nature is uncontested. It's the winner. It can heal us. It can nourish us. It can hold us. It can entertain us. Nature is the ultimate technology. Our technology competes with nature, not Dolphin Technology, but the technology that we all have, our phones, our devices, our social media. It's in competition with our natural bodies. It's in competition with the outside world. It's actually creating more negative and detrimental feelings for us. But when you go into nature, you get rejuvenated, you get healed. So at Dolphin Technology, we have this idea, nature as the ultimate technology. We're not going to be in competition with nature. Instead, how can we amplify the knowledge of nature? How can we amplify the beautiful healing power that nature has? As we believe in these future realities, we create them. You can start your own technology company and create your own inventions if you want. I'm here as a living example that you can do anything. But also, just as you interact with your technology and as you use your own internal compass to know if something is beneficial or detrimental, and you give your attention and your money and maybe your Bitcoin or whatever we move over to in the future to these more beneficial technologies, you're going to find that you actually are able to create the reality you want to see and have a beautiful impact on the development of the future you want to see. So I want you all to remember that groups of people are the most powerful force on the planet. If you want to work with me towards creating a better future, join UNICULT. And if you have some visionary ideas and you want to work together on some technology, please reach out. I would love to hear from you. And that's all I have. I would love to take questions if anyone has any.
Could you talk about a little bit about the process of like the downloads that you got about the technology and like what the process was of like taking it from like this what you're getting to like actually physically making it happen?
Totally. It's an intense process and it took a lot longer than I expected. I was in a period of like fallow energy, I would call it, like kind of offline. I wasn't communicating with my guides a lot, and it was after I had a baby. I was just kind of wiped and had to be really present in my body, and I was really tired of it because I'm a very creative person and I really like communicating with aliens. So I bought a bunch of moldavite, like a literal lot, which is like as much to fill your hand. And I started making grids. So I was doing Lemurian crystals and moldavite and Herkimer diamond grids and laying in them. And honestly, as soon as I hit buy on the moldavite, because I was guided to buy it, I had a vision of putting it onto a device like this. And this just started coming to me. As far as getting it made in the physical reality, it was a total nightmare. Things take so long on Earth. I can't even believe how hard it is to get things done. I expected to have like a full line of different types of jewelry to show today, but after like 4 months, I barely scraped by with this prototype. So it was working with with a lot, just going online and searching and picking up pieces and figuring out who could do what and how I could get it made, and just trying to really figure out that international and manufacturing process.
I feel a little hazy on like what the benefits of the technology.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't really explain, but it's pairing with your consciousness, so you meditate with it, and that infuses your conscious energy into the crystal. And then as you move around throughout your day, it actually charges up the device and it sends electricity into the crystal, which activates the crystal because crystals are piezoelectric, which means that they actually they have electrical properties. And so it'll be expanding and contracting and acting in all these different ways as the electricity of your vibration interacts with it. So that'll be, I'm posturing that it will increase your aura. I think that it'll just increase the power of the crystal.
I have an example of that. I was coming here and my phone was low on battery, and then when I got here it was fully charged, and I noticed there's all these crystals here.
That's amazing. My phone's been fully charged all day too, and it's weird. I've been confused about it. Maybe the energy we're all cultivating is charging our phones. I wouldn't put it past us. We can all meditate for your phone. Any other questions?
I wasn't here at the beginning. I apologize if I explained this already, but I make ET contact as well. I was just wondering, kind of just generally speaking, what are the ways you know that you are in contact? Do they do little ear tickles and things? Like what's that communication like?
For me, when I first started, I was initiated in 2014 through books. I was reading a lot of different channel texts, and then I activated my third eye, and then I started hearing voices, and I was like, what? I wasn't expecting this. And it was not voices, it was thoughts for me. I think it comes to everyone differently. For me, it was very, very slow thoughts. and my thoughts are very fast. So I was like, what is this slow thought in my head? And I realized I was communicating with interdimensional beings, and they started guiding me to do different things like create rainbow bubbles around myself, hold crystals to my forehead, meditate under trees, things like that, and I was able to increase my telepathy. Like I said, that was in 2014, so it's been more than 10 years, and I'm, for about 8 years now, I've been a complete open channel I can connect with tons of different entities and channel with them. Mostly I work with the Andromedans, the Arcturians, and the Lion beings specifically.
How did you activate your third eye?
I watched a television show called Continuum, and in it they have a communication device, and I got high on cannabis one day and I thought, I'm going to turn on my communication device. And
Cannabis is super fun.
cannabis is amazing.
Yeah, for ET contact.
Yeah, it is, and I think the main thing that I would say to anyone who's experimenting with that or nervous to try it, set your protection and then validate your experiences, trust your experiences. It's easy to just disregard it and be scared of it and shove it down, but it's something we're all capable of, and they're in our skies right now. They want to communicate with us. Most of them, 99.9%, are beings of love and light. They're here to help us activate and ascend and give you good ideas for new technology companies if you so please. Thank you.
Thank you.